Welcome to the 9th video in the Getting Started with Analyst Notebook series. In this video, we'll look at some of the analysis tools provided as part of the Analyst toolbar in the ribbon menu of Analyst Notebook. Additional information on the tools shown, as well as other analysis tools not demonstrated, can be found in the Analyst Notebook help. The toolbar is divided into 4 main sections. The List section provides tools to view information from charts in list views. The Find section provides ways to look for specific information. Find Networks finds connections and associations on the chart, while the Gain Insights section provides tools to help the analyst to find information patterns hidden within the chart data. We will start by opening the Financial Transactions Association chart. This can be found using the Example Charts shortcut. The location and installation of the example materials was covered in detail in the Getting Started with Example Materials video. Using the List Items tool, we can see all of the items on a chart in a list format. Each of the columns can be used to sort the information based on the values in the column. By sorting with the Type column in this instance, we can group the data by the type of account, business, high interest, or savings. Items in the list can be selected, and this selection is reflected in the selections on the chart surface. If we select all the business accounts in the list, then those accounts will also be selected on the chart too. Returning to list items, let's look at how you can also sort by multiple columns. Using the Sort button, you can add a second or third sort column. In this example, we will add a secondary sort on the account number label column. We can now see that the items are still grouped by account type, but within those groups, items have been sorted by the label too. By using the Filter button, we can remove any items from the list that are not currently selected. Now we just have the business accounts in our list. The Copy button is used to copy the contents of list items to the Windows clipboard, allowing you to copy the list into another application such as Notepad or Word. Data is passed to the clipboard to reflect the current sort order as well as the filter status in list items. The Clear All button can be used to remove any current selections. List Items has 2 tabs, one for entities and one for links. We will now switch to the links list. This provides the same sorting, filtering and copying capabilities as the entities list. Once again, we will sort by the label, but this time reversing the order so that the highest value labels are at the top of the list. We can now use this to easily select all transactions with a label value of over 10,000. Returning to the chart, we can now see these selected on the chart. As an example, we can use the Styles toolbar to increase the line width on these selected transactions to emphasize them on the chart. The other tools within the List section of the toolbar provide other ways to view data in list form. List Most Connected allows you to list the entities and links between them based on the number of links between them. Highly connected items are often significant in chart analysis. List Cards and List Data Records provide lists of cards and their properties or data records from other data sources. The Linked Items tool provides a navigable list of connected entities for selected items on the chart. Now moving on to the Find section of the Analysis toolbar, we will look at the Search tool. The Search tool searches across all chart items and their properties for the entered value. Results are ranked by how well they match the search terms based on the number and types of properties that are matched. Here we search for a specific account number, 49165428. The results quickly show that our search term can be found in the label and cards for an entity, but can also be found in the description cards for a number of links. The highest ranked item appears at the top of the list. Clicking an item in the results will select and center that item on the chart, and will also select and center it in the mini chart window within the search tool itself, which can be very helpful for more complex charts. Other tools within the Find section of the toolbar are Visual Search and Find Text. Visual Search allows you to search for individual entities or pairs of entities that are linked to each other. And Find Text is a simple text search tool for words or phrases contained within item information. We will now load another example chart, Records of Mail Convictions in Crownsville, and take a look at the Find Matching Entities tool. This tool searches the chart to find entities that might represent the same real-world object, for example, the same person. A new panel is opened that allows us to set up and find these matches. Find Matching Entities can search for matches in several ways. We will start by using smart matching, which uses semantics to look for matches in the data. In simple terms, this means it is looking for data that means the same thing, and then using appropriate properties to match them. For example, male, officer, and suspect are all semantically people, and find matching entities can use properties such as first name, last name, and a national identifier to determine if they might be the same people in real life. When the Find button is clicked, it's quite likely that no results are found. Using Setup, we can fine-tune the threshold at which matches are considered. Let's reduce the threshold to 5 to see if any matches are found. If we now run Find, we can see that there are 2 potential match sets displayed. Selecting each match selects it on the chart as well as in the Find Matching Entities window. A match link is also shown, indicating the strength of the match. We can see the match strengths of 6 and 7 for these records, which is why we didn't see them until we lowered the threshold from 9. Double-clicking the matching link will show the reasoning behind the match strength. In this case, both the person's full name and date of birth have contributed to that match. Please note that Analyst Notebook only considers a limited set of semantic property types when looking for matches with smart matching. Full details can be found in the help. Let's add a new record to the chart to show how various property types can contribute to a stronger score. The new record has a label set to Scott Keller, as well as date of birth and national identity attributes set to the 8th of November 1967 and 993464576 respectively. If we then rerun Find within Find Matching Entities, we can now see there are 3 Keller matches displayed. We can see that this Scott Keller record has much stronger matches to the existing records, with scores of 8 and 9. If we look at the match properties for the score of 9, we see that the matching values for the national identifier have contributed significantly to this match between S. Keller and Scott Keller, giving it the highest score possible. We will now move on to the alternative matching method, label matching, to see how it differs. In this case, it is using a straight comparison of the labels to look for matches. Only 2 records have the same label on this chart. The setup allows control over the label matching by choosing the types of characters to be used for matching and whether to consider the case of the label. Regardless of how a match is found, either through smart matching or label matching, the user can choose to merge the records if they consider the match strong enough. When the records are merged, there is now a single record on the chart, but the attributes have been maintained from both items. We'll now move on to the Find Network section of the Analyst toolbar. Let's load another example chart, Association and Timeline. To demonstrate the Find Path tool, we select 2 entities on the chart, Chuck Farmer and Paul Sharp. Find Path will only find the path between 2 selected entities. For multiple entities, you can use Find Connecting Networks instead. Clicking Find Path opens a configuration window to fine-tune how paths are found. We will just use the default configuration for this exercise. Multiple paths have been found between the selected entities with 5 links on each path. Let's use the Copy to New Chart tool we've used before to copy these selected paths onto a new chart for clarity. We can now clearly see the 3 different paths between them. The Find Network tools also include Find Connecting Networks, which finds connections between more than 2 entities. Find Linked Items, which extends the selection for a single entity to select all entities and the links that connect to them. And Find Clusters, which finds groups of interconnected entities and is especially useful in charts with high volumes of data with many interlinked entities. We will now move on to the Gain Insights section of the Analyst toolbar and take a look at the bar charts and histograms feature. For this feature, we will load the Filters and Histograms example chart provided with Analyst Notebook. Bar charts and histograms allows you to see the data in your chart represented as bar charts, or for time-based data as histograms. This can help you gain clear insights into the makeup of the data in your chart. Let's look at something simple such as the account type. This quickly shows us the distribution of account types across our chart. Selecting an individual bar in the bar chart selects the members of that bar on the chart surface. We can do the same with link type so that we can see the makeup of transaction types on our chart. We will now look at the date and time properties. This gives us an opportunity to see data as a bar chart or as a histogram. As a bar chart, the data has been divided up into a series of data ranges, with a count of records within that range. As before, selecting a bar selects those items on the chart. Now let's look at the same data as a histogram. Now these time periods are displayed as vertical selectable columns. Note that Analyst Notebook will assign a scale based on the charted data. In this case, each column represents a week, but the scale may be changed within the histogram. Another feature is that Analyst Notebook can play the histogram by automatically selecting each column in order, while at the same time selecting the relevant data on the chart. In addition, individual columns may be drilled down into to see the distribution of data within a particular column, in this case for the individual days. Returning to the full histogram, we can also view the data as a heat matrix using specific properties such as the day of week or the link type. Here showing that on this chart there was a hotspot for check transactions in the week of the 12th of April. Other tools in the Gain Insights section include a time wheel, which helps gain further insight for time-based data, Activity View, which helps visualize and analyze overlapping temporal data, and Social Network Analysis, which helps gain insight into the dynamics of groups and organizations. In this final part of the video, we'll look at the Maps option on the toolbar. For this demonstration, we'll use i2 ESRI Maps, which is included as part of Analyst Notebook, but is an optional feature during installation. To demonstrate mapping, I've created a simple chart to show the associations between a person and 3 locations that could be displayed on a map. Showing these 3 locations on the map might give further insight into the spatial relationships between them. In order to display chart entities on a map, they need to have geographic coordinates. We will look at several ways that coordinates can be added to a chart entity so that it can be added to a map. A very simple way to both find and populate coordinate values is simply to drop the item onto the appropriate location on the map. In the map window, we can use the mouse pointer and scroll wheel to navigate and zoom into the map. Different base maps are provided in the map gallery. The available base maps may vary depending on your particular installation. We can choose another base map to give a more detailed view if required. After zooming into a sufficiently detailed view, we can see the location that matches the house entity on the chart. Simply dragging and dropping the chart entity onto the appropriate point will place it on the map, but also populate the coordinates as attributes. Coordinates for entities might be populated as part of an import, if included as part of the source data, or you might choose to find them using a mapping website. These coordinates can be stored as attributes against the entity. Here we add attributes for latitude and longitude. You should use an attribute type that matches the type of coordinate data that you wish to store. For this example, we'll type the coordinates into the attribute fields, but they could also have been populated during the import process. Once the attributes are populated, we can right-click the entity and choose Add to Map. If we select one or more chart entities, the map will pan and zoom so that it can be seen on the map surface. Another way to add coordinates is to store them in the description field. To do this, the coordinate must be entered with LOC/ as text before them and a / after them, so that Analyst Notebook knows that they are coordinates. Please note that not all coordinate formats are recognized by Analyst Notebook. Please check the help for the supported formats. By selecting all 3 entities, we can now see where they all are on the map. Depending on the zoom level, items that are in close proximity to each other will be clustered as a single point, but you can change this behavior in the menu option at the top right of the map window. So, in summary, we've taken a look at the Analyze toolbar in Analyst Notebook and looked in detail at some of the analysis tools available on it. We've seen how list items can be used to select and sort chart items, how to use search to find information wherever it is stored. We used find matching entities to find similar chart entities. We then looked at FindPath for finding connections between 2 entities and how to use bar charts and histograms to cross-section your data. And finally, we looked at the mapping of chart entities using i2 ESRI Maps. Please look out for the next video in this series, and thanks very much for your time.